infamous Delphine Lalurie case. Today we are talking about the dreadful story of Delphine Lalurie, a wealthy woman of New Orleans, who is most famous for the torture and murder of her slaves. Marie Delphine McCarty was born on March 19, 1787, to a wealthy family in New Orleans. The McCarty men had military backgrounds, most were landowners. Delphine married in 1800 to a Spanish officer, and in 1804 they went to Spain. Delphine gave birth to a daughter, Marie. Her husband died before they reached Madrid. After traveling back to New Orleans, Delphine married a banker and had 4 more children. Her second husband died 8 years after they got married. Finally, she married Dr. Leonard LaLaurie on June 25, 1825. And she gave birth to a son, Jean-Louis Leonard LaLaurie. In 1831, Madame Delphine Lalurie purchased the lots on Royal and Hospital, which would become the infamous haunted LaLaurie mansion. But their lavish home in the Vieux Carré did not a happy marriage make. On November 16, 1832, Delphine Lalurie petitioned the courts for separation from the bed and board of her husband. She claimed that LaLaurie had treated her in such a manner as to render their living together insupportable. She also claimed that LaLaurie had beaten her in front of witnesses. 5 months later, Dr. LaLaurie acquiesced and consented, moving permanently to his newly acquired residence in Plaquemines Parish. Delphine was extraordinarily cruel to her slaves. There was a rumor that a young slave, Leah, had fallen from the mansion after hurting Delphine while brushing her hair. The extent of Madame Lalure's ill treatment of slaves was unknown until the 10th of April 1834. On this day, a fire broke out at the LaLaurie residence. The fire had started in the kitchen. When the police and fire marshals arrived at the scene, they found the house cook, an elderly woman, chained to the stove. Upon questioning her, they discovered that she had started the fire in an attempt to commit suicide. The woman explained that Delphine had threatened to take her to the top room. According to the cook, no one who went to the top room ever came back. The lady had thought it best to take her own life than suffer at the hands of Madame Lalurie. This revelation led to the top room being broken into to investigate the claims made by the cook. And for sure, the top room was hell on earth for the slaves that found themselves there. People found the dead bodies of several slaves in the top room, but that was not the worst of it. In the top room, slaves were tortured. The slaves found alive were deathly thin, a sign that they had not been given food in ages. A woman was found wrapped with her intestines. Another was found with their mouth sewn shut with feces in it. The slaves had metal bars with spikes around their necks to prevent them from moving their heads, while others were put into small cages and their bones broken to fit in. The extremely cruel treatment of slaves in the LaLaurie house was illegal and therefore warranted criminal sanctions. More importantly, the New Orleans community was extremely outraged by the cruel nature of the LaLauries. This led to many wanting to serve justice themselves. Mobs destroyed the mansion and all its property at 1140 Royal Street. In doing so, they also uncovered numerous graves on the property. The graves belonged to the slaves that had been murdered by Madame Lalurie. However, before the mob could get to Madame Lalurie and her family, they fled the area and were never seen in New Orleans again. Less is known about Madame Lalurie after the fire. However, it is believed that she fled to Paris, where she died in 1849. In New Orleans, one of the most famous ghost stories revolves around Madame Delphine Lalurie. Her infamous and majestic home on Royal Street has been the center of French Quarter attention for over 2 centuries. The typical ghost story talks about her abusing her slaves, and the atrocious conditions they were found in during the famous fire. The stories have grown throughout the years, with the torture turning into the most violent acts of human cruelty imaginable. There are tales of Madame Lalure's slaves having holes drilled through their skulls and their limbs being broken and reset in unnatural positions. And after much research, we can be utterly confident that LaLaurie absolutely committed heinous crimes against the enslaved persons in her possessions, but the outlandish tales that are out there now sound a bit more like another horrible woman in history.